Hi, this is practices for defending activities in groups of 5. Right now in Singapore, we're limited to groups of 5. You can extend these to different lines, different things, because that's where I got them from, and then just bring it to the group of 5. So a quick overview. We're going to do short, quick activities. There's a guy named, I believe it's Dan Abrahams. He's the psychologist that helps out Bournemouth. And he says, keep them short, keep them quick, and come back to them. And keep it varied. That keeps the mind flowing rather than just falling into a trap. So we're going to do a warm-up, and then we're going to do 2v1 across the field. We're going to do some block tackling, and then we're going to go to some defending work in grids. And then we have some little motion here, 4v1 rondo, and then a 3v1 rondo transition. And then we're going to go to a 1v2, which I use a lot for teaching defending, and then we're going to finish up with a 3v2, and if we have time, 1v2 to goal or a 2v2 to goal. For this first one, it's going to be 2v1, so I got the red and the yellow going against the purple here. And notice that I got little feet on the purple because I want to dictate that, and then the green is the ball. So if red is dribbling, he's going to take a couple dribbles. This guy's going to get low and shift backwards as this guy comes forward. And sooner or later, this guy is going to, after he takes a few touches, he's going to pass over here. And this is slow motion kind of things. We just want this guy to get low. And then what he's going to have to do is do a drop step to drop that lead foot and then switch around to go over here and then force this guy outside. Okay, we're not getting too close here or anything like that. And these guys will progress across the field. And you don't want to go all the way across the field. So if you have a full field, probably halfway across. If you have a smaller field, then you can go across. And then they're going to go all the way down to the end line here. Once they get down here, then we can change their roles and then come back here. So in that sequence, we've had two people be defenders. These guys here are going ahead and doing some, wrestling players will do press-ups, leg flutters, and crunchers. So once they come back, with two people being defenders, these two guys will come in and each one of them will be a defender for the next session. So make sure that you go across twice in this rotation. Two guys will stay here and then do press-ups and leg flutters, but work on that drop step. That's the whole idea there. Okay, go across and then come back. Another little warm-up activity is going to be the block tackle. So in groups of 2 and 3, you got to rotate in the 3. But you're just going to take one step and do the block, tackle, and then repeat 3 times. So all you're doing is contact with the ball, both people, same foot, and then switch feet. And then after that, you're going to do a challenge. You're going to do a block tackle, and then try to win the ball and get behind the opponent. Just 1 or 2 steps behind them, that's all. And then we're going to move that into the grid. Then the next one is to get into the grid and make it even more of a competition. So we start with a block tackle. And so these guys start about a yard apart from the ball. And then they take a step in and make sure that they initiate with the block tackle. If there's no block tackle, it doesn't count. So don't just poke it away. So you want to win the ball and go to the opposite end line for a point. So yellow's trying to stop it here for a point. Red's trying to stop it here for a point. So do this about 2-3 times. These guys on the side, either you can make another grid, or these guys on the side can still do some press-ups or some sit-ups while they're resting, okay? And then that's block tackle to score. Rotate the players and keep the games going. Vary opponents, okay? So everybody should be playing that. You probably do 3 times where these two guys will square away with each other and then go play somebody else later on for 3 times. And then that should be about it, and we're moving on. Just to get some passing, so yellow's going to pass the ball over here, and then they're going to run and follow it and go behind here. And then same thing, back and forth. If you want to do a variation, you can have, let's do a little, insert a little give and go in here too. So if I pass across, then I run off to the side a little bit. This person here will give, get it back, and then play across to the next person over here. Okay, that's a little variation on that. Is getting that good defensive position in again. We're going to be in a 6x12 grid. One line is going to pass and then closes and defends the ball. So I have the ball here with my guy with the feet. He's going to pass it across here to yellow. Now you might see that yellow is a little bit on this side, so we might want to force the sideline. You don't always force the sideline, but a lot of times that's good practice. So then the feet are going to be staggered so that we don't get nutmegged or whatever. And then we're able to run. So when this person closes, the key is accelerate. Now when they get close, they need to decelerate. And if it looks like this guy's taking off, then you got to move backwards. But you want to try to not have them play across your lead foot because you want the direction to be determined. And so then the yellow player is going to try to do exactly that. Maybe fake this side, and this guy takes it and then get around this lead foot. And if he does that, what do we want the purple guy to do? Well, we want him to retreat and then do the drop step and get the feet orientated. Now he might have to pressure this way in order to choose the direction that the attacker goes in. This guy's objective is to get to this end line. And then you just go back and forth, keep on doing that. You probably always serve from this side, defender's always coming from here, change lines, and then you get a lot of touches in and a little bit looks. One thing that I think is really important in this though is to communicate. So every time you play the ball, you say then I go ball because you're going to go close it down. Okay, so decelerate for composure, defend, and then at the beginning, the first couple times, no tackling, and then after a couple times, then you can tackle if you see fit, but no stabbing and missing the ball. Same kind of deal is that we're going to have the purple play defense, but he's going to start with the ball. He's going to pass it across here to orange. Now, orange thing is they're going to play a wall pass either to red or this black here, and then try to get in behind. So this adds pressure to the purple guy, so he's going to dictate which side it might go on. So possibly he closes quickly, and he's going to decelerate and then start moving backward actually as we go here. This orange guy wants to try to play it across this guy's lead foot. If he plays it in front of him, this defender's job is made a little bit easier because he can see everything in front of him. So if I take this and this guy does play across the purple's lead foot to here, then now this person has a choice. They can turn and look at the ball, and if they do that, most likely they're going to get beat, and this guy's going to get in behind. So this is a little bit different nuance. This person needs to, their feet are already facing this way. So I want them to drop into this space as fast as possible. And when they drop into this space, fall in, I say, then they need to turn and look and make sure they can see the ball and their man. And you can even get some hands on him or whatever to feel out where he is. You can't really push him, but you can see where he is. So you want to get in this space as fast as possible because we do not want them to complete this wall pass. Now the rotation on this might be a little bit funnier. These two guys are probably going to end up down here. So this purple guy just went. So when we rotate here, rotate in a clockwise direction, and then this person probably comes here. Something like that. You're going to have to figure that out. I don't have it figured out. It will be more natural when you play it. Okay, I usually do this with more players. All right, so that's the other one is fall back in and make sure you still say I go when you accelerate to close and decelerate for composure. And then you try to drop back in after the ball is played. Get the ball and the man in the vision. One is a 4v rondo. 4v1 rondo, and so all you do is play keep away. Please rotate through the players. Don't just make it whoever wins the ball gets it out. 10 consecutive passes, then you're done, and then you rotate on to the next player. Every player should take a turn twice to be a defender. Plant this in the defender's minds. Tell them to try to force the ball one way so it's predictable. Even if they can't get it, force it one way so that the rest of the team behind them, even though that isn't the case here, knows where the ball is going. We're going to do a 3v1 rondo in the same dimension space, so it's a little bit more room. Then 8 consecutive passes. If these people around the outside get 8 consecutive passes, what they're going to do is try to look up and pass down here. And I'll tell you what happens in a second. If this defender wins the ball, they can put their head up, and this is what you want a defender to do, is that when they win the ball, you want them to find an outlet. You're going to do exactly that. They're going to find an outlet. If the ball goes out, the defender has to go run after it and get the ball out here as fast as possible anyways. Okay? Now what happens when that happens? So if there's, for instance, 8 consecutive passes, then it comes back here to red. Red is going to go ahead and play that ball over to this person. When that happens, the defender stays. The other 3 are going to sprint down here. It's not a huge sprint, but it's 12 yards about. They're going to sprint down here, and whoever was last, so in this case, red was last, these other 3 are going to go ahead and play against that made it down there initially, as well as the person that was already there. So they're going to do 3v1 here. This person rests and waits. And so then red is the defender. So maybe these guys play it. Oh, red gets the ball. So red goes head up right away. And when they go head up, they're going to play the ball down here. As soon as that's done, no sooner, these guys can then start running. And so yellow, orange, and then, this guy's the defender again. Okay? So keep on playing, and then you can just go back and forth. Try to win the ball for defenders, otherwise 8 consecutive passes. Just remember that the defender stays in their grid. The rest run, and you can't leave until the ball is played. Now we're going to do a 1v2. So communication here for the defenders is very important. So we're going to go about 6 to 8 yards by 20-yard grid. If it's too easy, make it smaller. If it's too hard, make it a little bit bigger. Figure it out. And then, the 2 players play to the 1. 1 takes on the defender, and then you score by playing into the opposite end targets. Communication is very important. So the first defender is going to say, I go, so that everybody knows what's happening. Second defender screens the early pass, then they'll close when pressure is applied. And then the second defender talks and tells you, I got support. Force left, I go. They go, I go, if they have to step up in there. And that's what happens under this situation right here. And then if you get beat, fall back immediately towards goal, and you might become the second defender then. And then you start talking again. So how does this work? So if I have 2 on this side, they're going to play this ball up the middle. Red's going to step out here, and so then this person says, I go. It's best if they force them one way, so he has to dictate or figure out which way he wants to force them. If he runs all the way around to force them back to this guy, I guess that's okay. But this guy's going to have to step out here first. We usually call this like a midfield screen, so that this guy doesn't play in straight away. And these targets can move a little bit, but we don't want them to move too much. And then once this pressure is applied and this guy can force him one way, now we can get the second defender in here. This guy's got to communicate. Support, I gotcha. Force left, all those kinds of things. And so then if the ball gets dribbled over here and this guy gets beat, if you get beat, you go straight back to goal. And this guy will say, I go, which communicates to this guy, yes, now I'm going to become the second defender, and now I got support, force left, force right, whichever the case might be. Okay? Now, this guy, once he gets it to this target, then you're going to rotate around. And I haven't figured this out without doing it with people, so you got to figure that one out. I usually have multiple people in lines, but I think you can get this to go. Maybe you have these people do it a few times in a row, and then the targets switch in after a little bit. Okay? This one's great for communication, talking. Defenders, once you get the ball, make sure you try to get your head up and find the target. If it goes out, then it's out, then we reset. The biggest coaching points here would just be to get that flow going and communication between these 2 guys. They have to talk. One is 3v2 with channels, and so probably about 15 to 18 yards across this way, so it might be 5, 5, and 5, and then also 10 yards deep. This might vary depending upon what kind of results you're getting, but don't make it too wide and then don't make it too narrow because I only have 2 defenders. Usually I do this with 3 defenders and then they repeat, but we're going to do it with 2. So this guy right here has to stay in this middle channel. this attacker has to stay in this wide channel. This guy has to stay here. So maybe these two defenders go maybe 3 times in a row, and maybe these attackers can switch which channel they're in, but they have to stay in that channel during that one session. Okay, so then here, this guy, he's got to use his feet again. I like having his feet. So he's got to dictate and know where his other defender is. So he's probably going to try to force into this defender. So we really want this guy to be conscious of this. The defenders can switch all the way across and go over the lines, but the attackers cannot. So if the ball is here with this guy, I want to force him into my buddy. Okay? So if that happens, then this guy's option might only be to pass over here. And if that happens, then I want this guy to come in here, and then this guy's going to drop off. This guy has a decision. Am I going to force him to the sideline, or am I going to force him into my buddy? And you have to make that decision in the game and figure that one out for yourselves. Now this guy might cross all the way over here. Now we got to hustle. And when we hustle, this guy again has to decide if I'm going to go force him outside or force him into my yellow guy here. And the game will dictate what happens with that. So then they can progress, pass it around, or dribble, whatever they want to do. Maybe force it down here and then bring it back around and try to open up. That's what the offensive people will do. Okay? If I do this 3v3, I usually put 1 goal here, 1 goal here, and 1 goal here. And then the 3 defenders close down and do all that kind of stuff. Really a lot of communication. I go, says the first defender. Second defender supplies support and cover. Roles will switch very often. So this is a great communication talking drill. So these 2 defenders probably do 3 times in a row, rotate through and keep on rotating through. If you have time, you can also go to goal. So here's the 2 defenders sitting here, and then they pass the ball out, or the goalkeeper can close it out, whatever. And then this is the one person. So this guy's just waiting in line. This is one person who's going to go on offense or attack. This guy closes, figures out if he wants to go to the sideline or into his buddy. This guy supplies the cover back here and support. And then this person takes at least 1 touch, so it's just not 1-touch goal. We want these guys to have a chance. And if it's still too fast, then maybe give these guys a little bit more. And then this guy's going to try to take these guys on and go ahead and try to shoot. Okay? And see if he can score. And then we have a goalie in here. I'd say these 2 guys probably do 2 or 3 times in a row and then rotate through. The other way to do this is also 2v2 to goal, which is kind of fun. These 2 guys can be on one team, and then the 2 oranges can be on another team. Goalie takes it and plays it out someplace, doesn't enlarge it, plays it out in this space here, and whoever gets to it first, they're going to be on attack. Maybe these 2 guys, since they're sick of playing defense with their feet, they get the ball, and then now they're going to go attack these 2. And then you can play that to goal as well. Okay? All right, I hope that this will be plenty, more than enough, probably too much, but it's better to have too much than too little. And I got the crossbar challenges pushed in there some places. Finish with a cool down, and you should be good. All right, I hope that this all works out, and we have a good time. Thanks.